Okay. Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started. So grateful that you could join us today on Giving Tuesday. The Community Capital Fund proudly welcomes you to our virtual brown bag lunch. Today, we're going to talk to you about our impact in progress. What follows are a series of slides and videos that we prepared. You'll see members of our team. And we're going to tell you more about CCF and our work since our creation in 2012 and ever since. If you would like, you can turn on the closed caption selection and make sure that you can see the closed captions. We have portions of our presentation in Arabic and Spanish. Those items will also be included in the chat window. And please also feel free at any time to ask any questions in the chat, and we'll make sure that we follow back around to those at the very end of the presentation. To begin, we'd like to introduce Phyllis Hardwick. She is our executive director, and we're so grateful for her leadership and vision for our team.
My name is Phyllis Hardwick, and I am the Executive Director of the Community Capital Fund, or as we like to shorthand it, CCF.
So Phyllis can tell us more about CCF and what it is.
CCF is a community development corporation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization created to support and revitalize communities, especially those in disinvested areas.
And that's so helpful. And now to understand more about our mission, Phyllis tells us more.
CCF provides grants, technical assistance, and coaching to support under-resourced neighborhoods and businesses in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area. We help to advance asset-based community development, which is to say we begin by looking at what resources and assets communities do have instead of what they don't. We invest in innovative and measurable community development. Everything CCF does aligns with and strengthens the financial, human, and social capital of under-resourced neighborhoods in greater Kansas City. It's my job to make sure of it. Our geographic scope covers low to moderate income neighborhoods in the 7 counties of greater KC. That means we work from Leavenworth to Cass and Jackson to Johnson. Where the need is, we go. Since 2012, CCF has administered more than 3 million.
My apologies, folks.
Our geographic scope covers low to moderate income neighborhoods in the 7 counties of greater KC. That means we work from Leavenworth to Cass and Jackson to Johnson. Where the need is, we go. We know that while every community in the CCF geographic footprint desires to improve the quality of life of its residents, many communities also face adversity on the road to creating change. We see how our communities are creative and skilled in solving problems, mobilizing volunteers, building strong networks, and growing entrepreneurs and small businesses. We recognize that too often, lack of access to funding sources prevents communities from bringing their ideas to fruition. Since 2012, CCF has administered more than $3 million to neighborhoods, grassroots organizations, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. In that time, we've also organized 9 community development workshops that have collectively drawn more than 2,100 community leaders to this one-of-a-kind convening in greater Kansas City. In addition, CCF has also fiscally sponsored 10 social ventures that collectively have raised more than $4 million. And I have to share that just since June of 2020, CCF has administered more than $1 million in grants and to support the resiliency of neighborhoods, small businesses, and individuals in greater Kansas City.
So that is all incredible to learn. And we're so grateful for Phyllis's leadership. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Michael Carmona. He is our program manager here at the Community Capital Fund. Michael is instrumental in our work, ensuring excellence at every step of our process and in our function. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about our role in the community.
You can think of CCF as a fund manager. More specifically and above all, we are a community and economic development financial intermediary. We provide grants through very specific funds that serve neighborhoods, small businesses, and even social entrepreneurs. Our work proves over and over a little fund goes a long way.
We'll hear more from Michael in a moment, but next I'd like to introduce you to HANAN ALABDALLA. She's our community development coordinator, and she also has much excellence to bring as we deliver services in our neighborhoods. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about how we do serve our neighborhoods.
عندما يتحلق الأمر بالأحياء فأفضل مثال على عملنا هو Neighborhood Rising Fund or NRF. This collaborative grant program provides funding for high-impact, innovative community projects and neighborhood revitalization initiatives. ما أحبه حقا هو NRF تساعد في بناء منظمات في الأحياء أقوى وأكثر neighborhood organizations في المناطق that low to moderate income areas. The most recent round of funding in spring 2021 awarded almost $200,000 in funding to Kansas City neighborhoods for community revitalization projects. To date, NRF has awarded 245 grants to neighborhood organizations, which totals more than $680,000. The projects and initiatives supported range from public safety and cleanup initiatives to property and public space improvements, as well as identity building and resource sharing events. It's incredible to learn that these projects have leveraged more than 75,000 hours of combined volunteer work and have engaged more than 110,000 residents and stakeholders during this time.
So we thought we'd take you through a couple of examples of the neighborhoods that we serve. We have 3 profiles that we'd like to share. The first is the Rosedale Development Association, with whom we've worked for a very long time.
During the last 10 years, in partnership with NRF, Rosedale Development Association has contracted local artists to create and maintain the Rosedale mural at 42nd Street and Mission Road. The mural project has become a touchstone for the neighborhood, being featured in multiple publications. Over the years, the mural has been tagged by graffiti artists and needed to be repainted. Thanks to another NRF grant, the association covered the mural in an anti-graffiti coating, which will protect the mural's longevity by making it easier for volunteers to clean off any future graffiti.
What's wonderful is when we start to see the feedback from the neighborhoods, they really appreciate what the NRF provides and how it protects and provides for their features and their different projects. The next project we wanted to share is Neighborhoods United Together Community Development Corporation.
Neighborhoods United Together Community Development Corporation works to connect the youth in the community with senior citizens to clean up public spaces and complete yard work. Through this connection, the younger generation is encouraged into homeownership and positive behavior, while the senior citizens are able to better communicate, helping to eliminate generational fears and concerns. During the neighborhood cleanup, block party, and tire cleanup events funded by an NRF grant, trash, yard trimmings, and tires were collected from all over the community, adding to the overall sense of responsibility and beauty of the area. Neighborhoods United Together is planning to share stories from its experiences with schools, businesses, and churches to encourage further participation.
Similarly, they have shared with us how this cross-generational approach has really done so much to encourage communication and community service. The final project we'd like to highlight is the North Blue Ridge Neighborhood Association and their security camera project.
The North Blue Ridge Neighborhood Association installed security cameras in high crime areas throughout the neighborhood boundaries. During this process, North Blue Ridge partnered with several community groups to have footage shared with the monitoring groups. This increased overall neighborhood security and community peace of mind. This NRF grant was the first grant that North Blue Ridge had ever received, and as an organization, help renew a sense of unity and safety, as well as an increased capacity to be better organized to meet the needs of its neighbors.
And so when you look at the quote that they shared with us, they shared about a woman in the neighborhood who had begun to feel more vulnerable. And through the participation in the program, she felt safer and able to be more of an active participant. As we think about what else CCF serves and how else we work in the community, beyond neighborhoods, we serve entrepreneurs and small businesses.
In September 2020, CCF was selected by the City of Overland Park to oversee and administer its CDBG Small Business Economic Recovery Program. These small business grants provided immediate relief for those negatively impacted by COVID-19. Nearly 100 small businesses have received a total of $635,000 in grant funds. CCF has heeded the call to administer additional small business grants in collaboration with the City of Independence and soon with the City of Shawnee.
So it's been amazing to serve these small businesses in this way. And when we looked at what else CCF is doing, we go back to our roots and our history as a convener in the community development workshop.
From the very beginning of CCF existence, we have served as a community convener. Those of us working in community development and community-led economic development appreciate the opportunity to meet face-to-face with other members doing this great work in KC. CCF established the Community Development Workshop, or the CDW, to help foster shared learning and collaboration. This annual event is an opportunity for leaders in community development to learn from each other, collaborate with other neighborhood changemakers, and be empowered to transform their communities. Hosted annually since 2013, the CDW is for neighborhood, government, and nonprofit leaders, residents, grassroots activists, and community and neighborhood stakeholders from both Kansas and Missouri.
At the last CDW that we had in person before the pandemic, it was February of 2020, and our keynote speaker was amongst the most powerful keynotes that we had ever had. The full video that I'm going to share a snip with you is at our website, and we'll have that link in the chat. But we just thought we'd just share this little bit, and you could kind of get a sense of what the CDW brings, the kinds of ideas and the quality of the speakers.
Welcome to the stage, Dr. Marvia Jones.
Thank you so much, James. And thank you everybody for having me here today. It's with great honor and joy that I'm here as a proud resident in the Blue Hills neighborhood, where we have our new president, Ms. Linda Brown. So I'm really excited to be here. I believe in neighborhoods, and I believe in the power and the strength of the people who work on behalf of neighborhoods. So I appreciate this opportunity, as I said, and you might be wondering, why does she have these light post things here? What does that mean? And I have them because I'm struck by this campaign that I came across years ago that happened kind of at the turn of between the 17th and 18th century, where, you know, street lights were not a common thing in the American colonies. And so they had to basically, Benjamin Franklin and some other folks played around with different models until they came up with something that's kind of like what became our porch light system, where they had lights along the street, but mostly it was really helpful when people would light lamps that they would leave on at their front porch or at the end of their, what we might consider our driveway or what have you. And this was a campaign that basically drawed upon the assumption that people were willing to do something that didn't necessarily just help themselves, but helped other people. Because if you think about it, these lights aren't just for the resident. When you leave your porch light on, the person who's a pedestrian in the street, or the person who's driving on a dark road, particularly if you live in one of those windy roads where it's really dark, there's not many street lights, your porch light guides the way for other people. And so I want you to keep this concept in mind as we talk today. So I want you to walk with me or ride with me, because this is technically a roadway, it's not really a walkway. But I want to talk about what it looks like for us to light a path for our neighbors and for each other in our city. As James mentioned, My role is to work on violence prevention with the Kansas City Health Department. And we have acknowledged that with violence in our city, we for too long have been looking at it as a problem that just one sector can solve, or one group of people, or is confined to one area, so only those people need to be concerned. We see it as a system, and so that's the way that I want to talk about it today. So let's think. I've talked a little bit about all of these different groups and how each of them has a role to play. I could go into more detail about each one, but we don't have time for that. And so I want you to just think more closely about how you yourself contribute to the culture in our city and in your interactions with others. People, I'm asking you to put your lights on. I'm asking you to put on your porch lights, your string lights, your walkway lights, your flashlights. Put your lighters up if you have them. I'm asking you to put all of those on to guide the way for other folks and to do what each of us can as neighbors to be a good neighbor to others. The end result could be beautiful. So thank you for your time.
There's a lot of incredible content in that speech, and I encourage you all to go and watch the full recording. It's about 27 minutes long on our site. So this catalytic speech really spawned something new in us at CCF, and it got us to asking, what can we do to help make the way brighter for new entrepreneurs?
CCF is administering the $100,000 Startup Assets for Economic Opportunity Entrepreneurship Grant Program, or SAFE, in partnership with the City of Kansas City, Missouri's Health Department. The SAFE Opportunity Grant Program has awarded microgrants to residents of Kansas City's LifeX zip code areas. The program is providing laser-focused support to the development of small business startups in Kansas City census tracts with the lowest life expectancy and highest economic distress. Since launching the program in July 2020, CCF has selected more than 30 new and aspiring entrepreneurs. Beyond the microgrants, grantees are also supported through a 7-week small business and community development training and ongoing technical assistance.
I'm so excited to share with you all that round 3 of the SAFE Opportunity Grant Program is open and will close at 5 p.m. on December 4th. So you have time to get your application completed and submitted if you live in one of those LifeX zip codes. Truly, this is a groundbreaking grant program, and we are so proud to be a part of it.
Safe Opportunity is the first initiative of the Kansas City Blueprint for Violence Prevention and a Safe and Healthy Community. The new initiative tackles violence in Kansas City from youth through adulthood through social gateways instead of primarily through law enforcement. 60 local organizations contributed to the program with their input. The Kansas City Health Department, Violence Free Kansas City Committee, and the Health Commission are working with organizations across the city to implement the program across a number of sectors, including health, faith, education, business, and more.
We really appreciate that cross-sector approach. And when people ask us, what else are we doing to reinvest in people, we like to point to some other programs with which we've participated in.
CCF has partnered with the Central City Economic Development Sales Tax District, or CCD, to administer additional funds to help people. CCD's Essential Services Fund was for residents who lived in the CCD Sales Tax District in Kansas City, Missouri, which is the area bounded by 9th Street on the north, Gregory Boulevard on the south, the Paseo Boulevard on the west, and Indiana Avenue on the east. Before the funds closed to applicants in June, CCD residents were able to apply for up to $3,000 to help cover rent, mortgage, utility, grocery, transportation, or quarantine-related hotel expenses. Applicants who were experiencing extreme economic hardship, including job loss, reduction of income, or potential eviction and foreclosure, were prioritized. Direct payments were made to the grantees' providers. In addition, CCF administered the CCD's Community Stabilization Fund, which was for registered neighborhood associations within the CCD Sales Tax District, where they could apply for up to $2,500 to assist at-risk CCD residents with minor property maintenance needs. Grants were made directly to neighborhood associations within the CCD district to support neighborhood preservation efforts, specifically for projects that ensure residents in the neighborhood were not impacted by the additional financial burden of code violations. Grants from the Essential Services and Community Stabilization Funds provided support to 202 households in 7 neighborhoods, respectively.
At this time, I'd like to introduce you to another one of our teammates, Velia Calcara. Velia is our program coordinator, and she brings so much to the work. We really appreciate all of her skills. She's going to tell us a little bit more about how CCF is working with social entrepreneurs in their development.
Community Capital Fund apoya el desarrollo comunitario y espíritu emprendedor con fines sociales a través del programa de patrocinio fiscal. Apoyamos proyectos, programas y organizaciones en vías de iniciar sus propias entidades sin fines de lucro, cuya misión sea congruente con proyectos de desarrollo comunitario en el área de Kansas City. Los emprendedores sociales elegidos para este programa pueden buscar subvenciones y donaciones deducibles de impuestos, aún sin contar con su propio estatus 501C3, incrementando con ello la capacidad e impacto de su trabajo. A la fecha, CCF ha patrocinado fiscalmente 10 empresas sociales y ha recaudado más de $3.7 millones para apoyar el desarrollo comunitario e iniciativas de oportunidades económicas.
It's wonderful. Love hearing all of that information. Final word from Phyllis.
I have so enjoyed giving you this deeper look into the workings of Community Capital Fund. The work of CCF with neighborhood leaders and residents, with entrepreneurs and small businesses, with all the residents of our communities is powerful and authentic. It is driven from the ground up and is catalyzing real change in KC. Thank you for supporting this work in whatever way possible. Thank you for bearing witness to this impact in progress.
Muchas gracias.
We really appreciate you.
Excellent. So now we're done with the main video portion of our presentation and our virtual brown bag lunch. And I'd like to open it up to any questions that you might have. Feel free to add those to the chat and we'll make sure that we direct those to the right CCF team member.
And while we're waiting on those questions, I would love to say, one, thank you so much for your time. Giving Tuesday is a special day of the year. It's where people think about the organizations they would like to impact with their time and often treasure. And we appreciate the fact that you've decided to put some of that investments here with CCF today. Thank you so much to CCF Productions team for putting together those videos and that wonderful presentation. I now know what Beyonce feels like when she watches her music video for the first time. It is very strange hearing yourself in a video and seeing yourself in a video. So I really do thank you and appreciate you guys carving out that time to be able to tell our story in a concise way. Conciseness, efficiency, those are two of the words that guide the principle of CCF. We are known for doing a lot with a little. Often our organizations and our neighborhood associations ask for $2,000 to $3,000 in order for them to make significant improvements to their neighborhoods because they know what they need best. Our small business leaders owners are often looking for that first rounds of friends and family capital that while $10,000 may sound like a little for those with much, it is often what is needed in order for a small business to get from ideation stage to launch and thrive. And so we ask today for small amounts of donations because we know that we can get further faster with that type of support. We're hoping today to be able to fundraise to support our community capacity building efforts. For the first time, CCF will be able to have a staff member solely dedicated to adding additional capacity to our neighborhood associations in their work. Many people may ask and wonder what that means. It's kind of like instead of a physical therapist just giving you instructions of what you can improve, them actually meeting with you and going through what those things can be done in order for you to strengthen those muscles. And we look and support the strengthening of those leadership muscles that we already know are in our neighborhoods, and we're so humbled to support and continue. With that, I know we have a couple questions that folks have around CCF's work. For those of you who have other obligations on your time, given that Giving Tuesday is a very popular day, I promise this will be done in 30 minutes, and look at the time, 12:30, we are finished, and so we've concluded our formal programming. But myself and my team will stay on here and ask you any questions that folks have about CCF. But if your time with us has ended, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your treasure. And there's always ways for you to contribute with your talent to either your neighborhoods or with CCF more broadly. So thank you so much for that. And Steph, I believe you are emceeing for the question and answer, and Chelsea as well. So I look forward to hearing a couple questions.
Chelsea, do you mind sharing some of the questions that have come through the chat?
Sure. So our first question is, what types of businesses can apply for the SAFE grant program? And what are the areas in the city that those businesses can apply from?
It's a fantastic question. So SAFE was specifically designed to support our LifeX zip codes. These are a bunch of zip codes that are east of Troost in the Kansas City, Missouri area. You can be a business in different stages, although SAFE is specifically geared towards folks who are in that ideation stage. And so if you have a business idea, if you live east of Troost in one of our LifeX zip codes, they can be found on our website. We encourage you to apply for Startup Assets Grant funding, and you can get $2,000 and more importantly, support to be able to launch your business.
The next question is, what's next in 2022? What can we look forward to for making our communities stronger?
2022 is going to be a big year. As you can see from our wonderful videos put together by CCF Productions. Maybe that'll become a revenue generator for us one day. But from those wonderful videos put together, we are in a period of immense growth. And so we see that continuing through 2021. We are growing our small business grant program. In fact, we have $3 million of grant support that we are looking to deploy for the city of Overland Park over the next 2 years. We're looking to do similar programs in the city of Shawnee. We also want to bring back Neighborhood Rising Fund and make it as strong as ever with continuing those 2-year $10,000 grants as well. So it'll be a year where we're looking to bring more capacity building resources to neighborhoods, more technical assistance support to businesses. Again, that is providing the physical therapist in addition to simply providing the list of instructions or how you can strengthen muscles. And that's going to be kind of our guiding light for the 2022 year.
We have another question about NRF, actually, since you just mentioned it. So when is the grant program for NRF opening in 2022?
That is a fantastic question. Typically, we like NRF to open and close, which means grant funds are out in the springtime, just because so many of our neighborhood associations plan events that start in the spring, carry through the summer, and often wrap up in the fall. So be on the lookout for information at the top of the year regarding NRF.
All right, another question. Do you or your clients partner with PIAC?
We do not partner with PIAC. We often, if we get infrastructure style projects, which is something we do not fund with NRF, then we do refer folks to the PIAC process. But I'm not going to kid you, we kind of exist because neighborhoods have often found the PIAC process to be quite cumbersome. And so we pride ourselves on having grant programs with an eye of equity, which means that any neighborhood association, regardless of their capacity, hopefully can get through one of our application programs. And we want to provide that support so they can execute on their ideas. So we're mindful of what folks are doing with PIAC. Sometimes neighborhoods will ask for grants that kind of offset some things they have with PIAC. For instance, if you're asking for PIAC dollars to get a new sidewalk installation or speed bump, don't get lost in example, but for example, and you want to put a pocket park on the corner of that block, then we would fund the pocket park, while often PIAC dollars would go to some of those more infrastructure improvements.
Excellent. Our next question is, who have we partnered with to provide financial support over the last few years?
It's a good question. Honestly, a lot of our dollars have been fees for service. And so all of our grants that we do, we often receive a portion of those to be able to execute on that work. And that's largely supported our organization. We've also got a lot of support from a sister organization called ALTCAP that has been instrumental in not only launching CCF, but making sure that we are a thriving organization moving forward. And we've also gotten some significant dollars from the H&R Block in order to support our NRF grant. So our full list of funders can be found on our website. But we are still pretty new in going after some of those larger philanthropy dollars and ask, because up until this past year, we were a pretty small organization doing a lot with little. So we're excited to have grown from a staff of 1 to a staff of 5 and managing a couple $100,000 in programs to numbers in the millions.
Awesome. So what is our philosophy surrounding the grant process and making that easy and accessible?
Thinking through what it's like for, let's say, your grandmother who has been the neighborhood leader in her neighborhood for 15, 20 years, thinking through her eyes of what it's like to actually secure a grant. So that means having a grant available, not just solely online, but a paper-based form that can be filled out via paper and turned into our office. Looks like instead of having 20 questions with 20 attachments, maybe 3 or 4 questions that really drive to the heart of what you want to do so we can figure out how to support you. And if you missed a piece, not saying you are excluded because you did not complete our application, but instead a member of our team calling and saying, hey, you overlooked this piece of the application. Can we get, can you send this additional information to us? A call that people readily are excited to get in order for them to provide all the information we need to evaluate a grant application. So we think about what it's like to fill out one of our applications from the most under-resourced and undercapitalized, and try to come up with systems that are aligned to that group. Because we know if we capture that group, then our more sophisticated neighborhood associations that have attorneys as the secretaries and accountants as the treasurers, they typically are able to navigate our grant process as well. Michael is on the, he looks very proud. Hopefully I made him proud with that answer, because that's a lot of what he thinks about and a lot of what he does. Whenever there's questions about efficiencies in grant making process, he makes sure that we stay true to our values and making sure that they're equitable and accessible to all.
So speaking of information sessions that help with the grant process, Michael or Hanan, do you want to share about our upcoming info session for SAFE this week?
They're both looking like who should unmute first. Hanan, you won the lottery. Go ahead and unmute and talk about our upcoming information session.
Got it. Okay, so we're having our second information session coming up. We're going to be providing a lot of information on the program, as well as an opportunity to ask questions. We also have the first information session up as well. So if you'd like to look at that reference, it is available. And the great thing about having such a very thorough team is everything's on the website. So check it out, look it up. And if you'd like to ask us questions, we have email, phone number, just hit us up and we will answer your questions. And we also have office hours, so come to the office and we would be more than honored to help you.
Excellent. So we've got it in the chat, 10 a.m. Wednesday, December 1st. We'll have our second information session about the SAFE grant program. I think that may be the rest of the questions, guys. I'm not sure if there's anything else anyone wants to share.
Just another thank you with an underline and exclamation point. If you feel so moved, you can donate to CCF donuts. I love donuts, and so that's why that was top of mind, and that slipped out. And I'm probably going to get a comment about like staying on topic because I'm having a squirrel moment. But if you would like to donate to Community Capital Fund, please just go to our website, ccfkansascity.org, and you can find a donate link. There's also links to our other organizations that we support through our fiscal sponsorship program. Check some of those out. There's always opportunity to support those organizations too, if the work that they're doing is a little bit more aligned to your giving goals this year. But thank you so much. We appreciate you. And we are looking forward to a tremendous year of 2022 for CCF, for our neighborhoods, for our small businesses. And we couldn't do that without your help, support, attention, and time. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Phyllis.